I'm Laura Chenal, president of Syndicate Sales. Syndicate is a third-generation family-owned company based in Kokomo, Indiana. We have been manufacturing and distributing floral hard goods since 1946. Producing products domestically has always been our goal, as it not only helps us to keep as many jobs as possible in the Kokomo community, but it also enables us to maintain the quality that our customers have come to expect. Syndicate has a long history of product innovation. Starting in 1946 with the Aquapic, Syndicate has helped create many industry standards like design bowls, cardettes, and still the #1 selling vase, the 4042 Classic Urn from our 1984 line garden collection. We even set an industry standard for the delivery of hard goods with our own dedicated fleet, better known as the Big Green Trucks. Providing design solutions has always been in Syndicate's DNA. Most recently, we've sought out new ways to bring patented, innovative design solutions to the market through collaborative partnerships. These partnerships include talented folks like influencer and wedding florist Holly Chapple with the Egg and Pillow line, and hardworking retail florist Dawn Podolsky with her Serenity line. As we look to the future and the floral industry continues to evolve, Syndicate will remain committed to our core values of innovation and continuous improvement, all in an effort to provide our customers with delivery you count on and quality you trust.
I grew up here in Virginia. My father had a garden center and he taught me how to arrange. I was able to confidently move into wedding and event work, and that's how it all began. It's a seed that takes root, and whether you're growing or whether you're designing, we understand in a way that no one else possibly can how hard this work is. I knew there were things that needed to be created to make this industry better and to make things easier for floral and event designers. I knew that that relationship that I had developed with Syndicate was absolutely the place to go. When we all come together, we're able to make it better and make this career have possibly a better future for all of us. One of our first chapel designers was from this market, and she used to talk about this hotel all the time. Her name is Jennifer Eder, modern day. And so when I got on the plane and realized where I was actually staying and going, I was like, oh my gosh, Jen, I'm coming to your world. So it's really kind of a very serendipitous thing that I'm here today. I'm very excited to be here. I did a hands-on class this morning and I told them it was speed dating. This is going to be like a whirlwind, 30 minutes worth of whatever I can give you. Right now, I'm like super relaxed and excited and calm, and I don't know why. So that could be an indication that I'm just going to fall off the stage. I'm not sure. What I'm going to do is show you how I use my mechanics, and then I'm going to show you the bouquets that I made. In the background are some of the bridal bouquets that we have created, or I have created. We are 27 years into our business, and I still make all the bridal bouquets. I'm like psycho about it. It's the piece that I feel most emotional about, and I feel like my client really deserves the fact that I'm touching it. If I'm actually not in town, I have pre-advised that client that I am not going to be there, and she knows it or she wouldn't have booked me. I really feel that strongly about it. I make all different types of shapes and styles, as you know. I loved the last presentation because I do think that this wild, open boho vibe is starting to get a little bit more refined, and we will move back into a little bit more clean, elegant, sophisticated, and also slightly contemporary. Still a little loose, but maybe not as wide open and crazy. Oh God, I love this. I should just talk to you about these. Some of them are so pretty. Some of them have flowers from my garden. So I have a farm in Virginia. I have 7 children. I think you guys all know this stuff, right? You don't know that? Really? I was pumping babies like I was pumping bridal bouquets. Man, I was just having those kids left and right. And because I was having so many children, I needed to be able to generate a lot of income. And so I sold more weddings, more weddings, more weddings. And so this is really how my business evolved. Every time I had a child, I had to grow the business a little bit more. So my kids range from 33 to 11. I had a 22-year span of having babies. So my youngest 3 are still in the house, and we've launched 3 and almost 4 kids. The 4th one will graduate in May this year. So we've got 3 still at home. It's a very busy place. I am designing from my home. And that's best for me because we've got all these kids. As our company finally started to develop and grow, we built Chapel Designers, which is my network of floral designers. We support and educate wedding and event designers. We have a closed forum. We take care of each other in that space. And really, come to each other's aid if something is going on in our business. Maybe we need more freelancers or need to know how to make something or do something. That Chapel Designers was the first little endeavor beyond weddings and events. A few years ago, I took a look at my business and realized that I didn't own anything other than buckets. And because I was not brick and mortar, my company, if I wanted it to sustain itself, needed to own something. So I purchased our farm, which is 2 miles from my house. I do not live there. And everyone thinks I do. I don't. It is a destination place for floral designers. It is a registered bed and breakfast. But even though it is a registered bed and breakfast, I only let flower people sleep there. So it's kind of got a weird, like, do I know you? Are you in the flower tribe? Yes, you can spend the night. So that's how it works. We have all kinds of crazy fun events where one of which is like Flower Stock, which is every October. People sleep in tents on the field, and we do all types of different education at the farm. So all of that is happening in my world, and then, this lovely little baby is born. This is how I design. The egg is how I make every bouquet, and I want to make sure everyone realizes when I developed this, it was for the wide open boho scene. What I have found now is that no matter what the shape and the composition of the bouquet is, I use this as a support system because it allows me, even on a dense, tight bouquet, to get that in and out shape. And I will talk about that as we start to get the bouquets up here. But what I wanted to do was show you how it works, because that may be something you guys don't know. For those that don't know about my studio, there is a card going around the room, and it has a little barcode on it, and you're able to hover your phone over that and sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get all kinds of updates on the things, the projects that we're working on. So, okay, there was a little bit of education that was going on to make those wide open bouquets where you were doing this cross thing and you were making some type of armature with your hands and, doing this kind of vibe and just feeding the flowers in your hands. But when I went to bind it up, it would go like this. And so my bouquets, even though I was trying to make them loose and airy, they were really balls with lots of plumosa or seeded eucalyptus, trying to make it more wide open. So what I started doing, this was in California at a wedding that I was doing. It was a destination wedding, one of the few that I've ever had. I'm a normal, regular, run-of-the-mill florist that doesn't get to do all these sexy weddings all over the world, but this was my one destination wedding in California. It was a young lady who used to work for me. And she told me, I want to see the signature star stems. And if you know me, you've heard the story before. I did not know what she meant. What do you mean, signature star stems? She wanted to see the space around the bloom. She didn't want the dense ball that was very common at the time. And I loved her so much, and she had worked for me. I wanted to give her what she was asking for, and I really didn't, in all honesty, although I had been doing weddings for 20 years, I didn't know what in the heck to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it for her. So I thought, I need something, a form that will hold these stems in this wide open look. And I looked at this and I thought, how am I going to make this happen? So I thought, well, I could do chicken wire, and I could maybe that contraption would hold it wide open. And my mind, my head, I don't know why, said make it 2 layers. And that first one, I think just because it was a horizontal, the design I was going for, I made this shape, which we called an egg. And so I made this shape, and I put my stems in, and it couldn't collapse. And I thought, this might just work. And I just kept going and going, and that first bouquet I made, when I finished, I was standing in my friend's dining room, and I was crying. I knew that I had done something very different that was going to make my work a lot easier. My daughter snapped a picture of me crying, and I went into the Chapel Designer Forum, and I told everyone that I had made this chicken wire form. They said, what did it look like? I tried to explain it. It said it was oblong. They called it an egg, hence that's why it's the egg. So the key to the egg, they come in a 6-inch and a 4-inch, okay? Almost everything I do is in a 6-inch. I will go to the 4-inch when I'm doing something loose and airy, and you'll see that. I have some bouquets today that are really fun that are with the 4-inch egg, and I'll explain that to you when I get there. But most of them are in the 6-inch, and I start with my fingers up here just because I want to keep the egg straight. I don't want it, rocking or getting catty corner. I am careful to think about the profile of this bouquet. Is it going to be an airplane bouquet? Is it a horizontal bouquet? Then yeah, I might drop down even lower. Okay? Now, it's a tight ball. Clean all this off. No leaves or petals should go up into your egg. All of a sudden, you just reduce the profile. You're setting the line and the shape of this bouquet by where you put these and how wide open. If it's tighter and cleaner, one of the things I will do is start with a bed of hydrangea, and that is what's going to cover up my mechanics, okay? Less greenery. You don't have to have all this greenery all in it. Now, the greens do help increase the grid and increase the armature and make things stay in place better, so it's really important to get those in. This one needs to be stripped more. You'll notice that we have a larger opening here in the front of the egg and here on the corners, because I told my friend Trent, who is the developer at Syndicate Sales, I like to cascade. I need a bigger space up in the corners, and this front is usually my focal spot, so he made those holes bigger for me. So I also want you to start in the back and move your way forward. I mean, you can start in the middle there, but as you're going through the greenery and through your flowers, you definitely want to move from the back forward. One of the things I did a mini crash course this morning. One of the things I didn't mention is that I am always evaluating how big I want this to be, and then I am kind of refining and moving things a little bit if I need to. And just starting in the back and moving my way forward. All of the stems are being held in my fingers. Everything is inserted just like this. Every stem has to go into my hand, because if I don't do it that way, when I go to bind it up, it's not going to be natural. You're going to do your spiral techniques or whatever mechanics or design style you're used to feed those flowers into your hand. But definitely do not just go inserting them into this platform without feeding them into your fingers. And if it feels like it's going to crack, well then that's not a good idea, and you need to move it to a place where it's comfortable. And you can see that this is, you're setting your shape and your composition. Just like that. It's very, very simple. What I love about it is that you're able to set the bouquet down, go tend to the children, or wait on a customer. And my biggest angst and envy in this world is that I nursed 7 children and thought of this after I got through nursing children. Yeah, that's so annoying. But this actually, just greenery alone is so, so beautiful. I don't hate this. Wow. Now, I just went outside of the egg. You can do that when you're making your bouquets. That's totally okay to do. But if you go outside, you do that with a woody stem. Either somebody, like the seeded eucalyptus, or one of the roses, somebody that can handle that support. Get your tulips, ranunculus, sweet peas, anybody that needs that protection into this grid, because that really makes them more sound. The look on Instagram are these ranunculus kind of just flying all over the place. And I always looked at those bouquets and thought, it's just gonna break. But I had to figure out how I could achieve that look in a way that was structurally sound. And I really feel like that the egg has done that. It gives you a place. Hi. So, all right, so this is just your infrastructure. Now, it was really easy for me to get my fingers out of the center because I had some woody stems. If I had just been designing with plumosa or baker or a really dainty stem, it might take more insertions than 3. In this circumstance, these 2 leucodendron were strong enough to hold it all together. So that's just how it begins. Does that make sense? Okay. I am going to start showing you bouquets because there are quite a few of them. And we're going to start with this one. This one's really simple. Okay, this is a perfect example of the 4-inch egg. Maybe just leave it. God knows I might need it again. Okay, so this is a 4-inch egg. So this is how I can make a ranunculus or tulip bouquet look substantial. Have you ever tried to make a bunch of just ranunculus into a bouquet? It's impossible to make them stand out and make them look like they're worth anything, right? I had a client who wanted all ranunculus, and quite frankly, they were the maid's bouquets, and that was back in the day before this baby was a real product line. And I was so mad that I had to make all those little eggs by hand for her bouquet. It's impossible to make the profile big enough with ranunculus. And this little armature makes it so easy to do. This is 1 bunch of tulips. And there are probably 12 or 13 ranunculus in here. You just go in around it and add, some greenery to cover up your mechanic. It's totally okay when you finish, let's say this was done, and that is showing, then you just go underneath with some lemon leaf or some camellia or plumosa or seeded uke, and you cover that all up. Okay, so this little guy, I just think it's lovely. It's just so simple. So I'm going to pass these around the room, but we're not going to steal them. We're going to give them back to the show because they're going to go on display. But this is Weeping Podocarpus. I love this foliage. I'm going to qualify right now that these bouquets have been out of water for a while, and I did make them yesterday, and they did not have the benefit of having a cooler. So I think because this Podocarpus is maybe new growth, it's looking a little thirsty. I love that. I think that's just stunning. Okay, he's bringing me another 4-inch egg. He's doing good. Okay, same gig. This is the butterfly ranunculus and tulips. And I would be unable to create this open look without that armature. It would not be possible. The other time I'll use the 4-inch egg is when I am doing a roundy moundy. I might do a 4-inch hydrangea on top and then just start weaving my way through the design. You'll notice I do put pretty ribbons on all of my things. I like that. I just think it takes them to another level. So I do loops. They're stapled together and then they are just pinned in underneath. This is the yellow butterfly ranunculus. If you're not familiar with butterfly ranunculus, I think this is the best thing to happen to floristry. These buds will continue to open for days, and it's a very hardy flower. Look at that color. This just looks like, I'm so happy. Okay. All right. Now this one makes my heart sing. This one makes me so happy. So this is, let me also say that my designs are very, very much influenced by my material. It's very hard for me to do something simple because I love all these fun little extra bits and I love sexy quality flowers. When I got here yesterday, only a portion of my flowers had arrived and they were still doing a beautiful job sourcing and gathering for me. But I was in my space and I saw the regular, rock stars, but I didn't see the superstars and I was feeling a little anxious. And then, one of the girls, Helen, went over to the home and garden section and she bought heuchera, which is this red coral bell leaf here. And she bought hellebore, and then all of a sudden, some things that were still alive and very natural got into my space, and I started, okay, yeah, here they come. And then they went and found me those butterfly ranunculus, and I was dying. Another lovely lady named Allison sourced me some things too, which I'll show you in a little bit. This particular color palette, this was me getting to do whatever I wanted to do. I was so happy when I made this bouquet. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a strange color combination. But these rusty golden brown tones, they are the person that's the equalizer. They bring all those strange colors together. The muddy browns, that's my thing. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I also did mention this morning, I don't really love flowers that are hard red. I'm orange, I'm yellow, I'm blue. I like everybody who's got multiple layers of colors within a flower because I think that means that they're ready to jump into a design and find their brother or sister. So I say every color needs a brother or sister within the design. That's just me. I like to watch the tones transition and see the different levels within. I'm friends with Gregor Lersch, and he said to me, Holly, you like flowers that do not have a distinct tone. And I was like, oh, I do. I didn't even know this about myself. But boy, is he ever right. I'm obsessed with toffee roses. I didn't get the toffee roses, and I got this beautiful golden mustard, who I love. Carnations. Wow, I love carnations. I saw these carnations and I just wanted them. I had to have them. They were not part of my order, but someone generously gave them to me, and I did not know how I was going to make this all come together. And it's those muddy red, brown tones that bring it to life. I will tell you, as you're looking at some of these, like the heuchera is tired right now. The leaves were so short that I could not get it into the water overnight, but I still wanted you to see what that does. I also looked for, like the leucodendron, I was looking for that muddy brown golden tone. That's what makes all of this come together. The butterfly ranunculus, again, superstars here. And Sandy Schreck gave me the grevillea, which also I needed the levels of color to get it to where I wanted to be. Hellebore is from one of the ladies in the back room. Allison gave me one of her plants. I love this one. I mean, this might be one of my all-time favorites, just because I pushed myself to bring a color palette together that I didn't have preconceived. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know how I was going to make it happen, but I believed if I pushed myself, I could make it happen. This one's my favorite. Okay. This one here is a winner chicken dinner. This color palette is super, super popular, very, very bridal, and there is a little bit of red in here. I was anticipating that I would have more red, but if you do like red accents in your designs, I always think they're like lipstick. You know, just a little kiss of red can bring a color palette to life. I love it. And the levels of pinks in here are so, so pretty. This was going to be, actually, the Noreen's, I had asked for blush and I got hot pink. They were going to go in some blush bridal bouquet, and when I got these, I was like, okay, I'm doing my hot pink and red blush scene. This color palette photographs really, really beautifully. And once you get this in your portfolio and your clients see this, this will get picked up a lot. We did this color palette for a Valentine's photo shoot, which it was gorgeous. It was all these flowers. I felt it was Valentine's-y. It makes sense that it would be Valentine's-y. It went into my wedding work. Like, people started asking me to do it for weddings all the time. Add this look to your portfolio. There's definitely a bride out there looking for this color palette. One of the things I did not mention yet, but I will, and you're going to start to see it happen from here on out. I always wire my roses, always. I take the rose and I cut the stem completely off, and I do a cross wire at the hip, 22 gauge wire, 18-inch long wire. I take that rose into the center of the 18 inches, fold the two wires down, and I have the right length that I need for a wired stem. If I don't do it, I make bouquets that are, I'm used to talking to smaller groups, and so I always feel guilty when I let it, like, the real stuff go. Okay, here it goes. My first client told me she did not want constipated flower arrangements. And that woman really, I mean, it was my very first contract, and I did not know what she meant. I was 22 years old, but she set the stage for who I would become. If I don't wire those roses, it just becomes this dense ball. Ironically enough, he's given me my favorite bouquets, and the balls are sitting over there, and they're coming. So the least favorite ones are on their way to you. It's because I didn't take the time to wire the stems. I do it every single time. I can do it without wiring the stems, but it's not as rich. It's not as beautiful, because When a stem is wired, I'm able to, this one's not wired, right. Okay, when a stem is wired, I'm able to change its position. And you'll see that these are a little thirsty right now because it's more than 24 hours cut without water, but also no refrigeration. So this particular one maybe looks a little bit tired, but I mean, honestly, if it had been in the cooler, this would not be an issue. Over 2,000 weddings, real live weddings that I have done, and every single rose is wired. Every rose is wired, always. And it allows me so much more freedom. I'm able to make such a big difference with my shape and composition. And you're gonna see how dense these bouquets become when I stop wiring. And I did that on purpose just so that they could have water. But I love the shape and the depth that I'm able to get when I'm wired, and the fact that I can change the position of the rose. This is partially wired roses, so this is why this bouquet's shape is still good, but there are some naturals in here as well. This one's a good one. Okay, I love this one too. Okay, this one is awesome. This one is from, I was going to say from Allison. Well, I guess it's mine. I made it. But there's this lovely young lady named Allison who was in the back room, and she knew I was having trouble because I was missing the sexy. So Allison went to her greenhouse and she got me these Anthurium because I wanted to do a red and peach bouquet for you, but there wasn't really any red back there. So she got me the Anthurium, and Allison taught me that begonias can be glued into bouquets or into your corsages and work. So that was like, really? I'll take those begonias. So this bouquet went from, lovely to ridiculously gorgeous because of those pieces from Allison. I wired some of the, oh my gosh, it just went out of my head. What is this leaf? These little guys. Gaelic, sorry. That's something that's happening because I'm getting older. Okay, so the Gaelics, I wired those together to make a really fun little stem. As these go around, I want you to know that you will see some mechanics because I wanted you to be able to see the eggs and I wanted you to see how I make things. But this particular one just has some unique textures in it. Again, the burgundies are connecting together. I've brought these tones together and levels of that same tone. This one is in really good shape because I'm able to wire it, and I was able to get the roses to go where I wanted them to go. So one of my wedding planner friends told me that she thought my bouquets were the most beautiful because I was able to get an extra inch of flowers and that they were looking in the rose instead of the side of the rose. And I think you can see that in this bouquet. Again, this is a very delicious color palette. I mean, really, really rich. And also, again, get something like this on your website. People are going to eat it up. I want to also qualify there are some wired stems hanging out back here. I got on an airplane and came without my tools, not so smart. You do want to get in and cut the wires shorter than your natural stems. Obviously, if there are wires hanging, it could potentially, rip her dress. Not a good idea. Okay. Where am I doing on time? Okay. All right. This one's almost awesome. The elements, the color, the texture, it's beautiful. The roses are not wired. Here they come. I hate how dense this is. It just needed to be a little bit more open. And I couldn't make things go where I wanted them to go because I was trying not to wire. I would have preferred to have more quicksand roses in this, and I just couldn't fit any more in. I will also say, When you look at this, you'll see like the mascari was fully developed, so it's starting to go down. But, you know, if you can get your bulbs or your, you know, hyacinths and mascari and tulips and things when they're an earlier stage of development and not fully bloomed out, you're going to get further with your bouquet. We made little clusters of the grape hyacinths and bundled them together and then wired them into the bouquet. I felt it was lacking and not connected. And then Helen went to the garden show and bought me these hellebore that are the same tone as this. Now, I think, unfortunately, some of the hellebore has gone down. But if you look, you'll see how I do like the levels and layering of color. This is a very popular color palette. This is Quicksand Roses and the light blue. This also, I mean, because of the Pantone color of the year this year, you're gonna see lots and lots of people wanting this beigey taupey tone with these ranges of blue. Quicksand is one of the few standard roses I like to use. I typically do use garden roses, and I'm sure some people are going, great, lucky for you that you get to do that. I always sit in a consultation and I tell the client, this is how much it is for a sexy, beautiful garden rose Hollyish bouquet. And if you can't afford that, I'm happy to reduce the price. But your roses go from this to this. And once you show them why the number is here and that who they're going to lose when you go to this price down here, you'd be very surprised how many people will pick the higher end flowers and pay that premium price. You have to, I think all of us assume that no one will buy the more expensive things because all of us are poor florists, right? Like we all evaluate the price of something based on what we can afford. And the reality is it's not our job or our responsibility to decide how much they want to spend. So you have to have the courage to set the price high and then slide it down if they can't afford it. And the way that I always do that is I have the invoices pre-made before they get there with like the top prices that I want them to spend. And I sit with them and I say, this is $8,000 worth of flowers. Are you comfortable with this? And then if they squeal, I know really quickly I can backpedal. If it doesn't work for you, we can make some substitutions and drop the price down. But if they don't, if they don't look like they're gonna die, I start saying, and what about a hanging installation? And what about this? And what about that? So I always start high, and I'm prepared to start high before that consultation begins. We do discuss budget. I don't think there's any way you can write a quote for someone without, having that really uncomfortable discussion of what do you really want to spend? That's really important. Okay, so here comes the blue one. All right, and now this one is a Cascade. One of the things I want you to also notice is this bouquet was made horizontally, but it would be sold like as a Cascade. So the fun thing about the horizontal shaped bouquets, and you should tell the photographer and tell the bride, these bouquets can be carried like this or they can be carried like this. And emphatically, every single solitary time, I kid you not, that bouquet right there, that bouquet right there, it looks just as beautiful held like this as it does like this. It's almost, because I'm making them this way, it's almost more lovely and more natural if it's held in the opposite way that I intended to do it. That piece there and this one, they're so beautiful if you tilt them sideways. One of the other things that is, I think, helpful is that this rose here is wired, but if I need to get more of a cascade going on, this wired stem is my platform for more wired flowers. So I will tape a long piece of plumosa or olive or whatever, spray roses, whatever, to this one stem that's going to be my cascade. Okay, I said 22 gauge, and that is the gauge that you use for most wired stems, okay? When you're going to go down this low, you want to do an 18. You're going to use a stronger gauge because otherwise this guy would be flopping. And I actually don't have an 18. I didn't have it with me in this space. But those longer airplane arms, you're going to need that 18 gauge wire. You have a question? This egg, all the rest are 6. The 4-inch egg is the little yellow and the little orange bouquet. This is a 6-inch. And you can see the egg. See right there? You just would want to go underneath that with lemon. The other thing I found out, which is really cool, is that the egg also, you can drive a corsage pin in it. So like if you wanted to put some lemon leaf underneath there, you could take a corsage pin and pin the lemon right into the egg. It actually will go in. Cascades are fun. Okay, great. And this is my last bouquet. And hate it. I hate it. And I hate it because look at that. If I had wired those roses, my bride would not have a tree trunk. It would be a little bit more open and a little bit more dense. Now this isn't an egg though, so see, it doesn't have to always be the big horizontal airplane. Such technical terms in floristry she does not have. Here we go. But this, it was also so stiff that we had a workshop this morning and there were sweet peas left over, and I added those to give another level. I do think the one thing that's really charming about this is that those little nuances of that beigey, nudie, taupey peach in with the white, I think that makes it really special. So this is the white bouquet. We're going to send it out. And honestly, you guys, my time is almost already up. I don't even know if we're allowed to do questions, but if somebody wants to try, yes.
Do you wire any other flowers besides the roses?
I wire orchids because you need to do that. I pick up all of the little heads of ranunculus that die and flop over in the studio. I wire those, but I don't do the hairpin wire. I take corsage tape around a ranunculus, a calla, anybody who's succulent, mushy, the hyacinths, and then I drive the wire through the corsage tape because that will keep it from slitting down the stem. Does that make sense? The wire in a woody stem isn't going to go anywhere, but I need to create some support for that wire. So, I mean, an amaryllis, I will take those, smash them together, tape it all, and drive wires into it. Those are the flowers that I wire. Or if I want a cascade. But for the most part, I do not. Maybe I have a spray rose that has like 7 heads of, 7 little laterals and buds on it, and I need just 1 or 2 somewhere else. I might wire a few of those. I sometimes think that taking the time to wire, like I don't want to do it, and then emphatically every single time I don't, I'm so frustrated. If they're wired and prepped and ready to go, I can just fly through that bouquet. It's such a much better experience to do it that way. Okay? Anyone else? Oh, say that again, dear? Well, maids are always done in advance. I don't wire my roses for my maids unless they spend a lot of money for them. I just feel like the bride should have something really, really fresh. It actually isn't about the fact that the roses are wired. Wired roses will stay in the cooler for a week. They really will. That's not a problem. It's about everybody else, really. I want to know when I go to design for her that I have the most sexy, most beautiful bloom in the most perfect state. And who was yummy 2 days ago may not be so great when I go to make it. And so I just want it to be as fresh as possible. I will tell you also, with all of my years of doing this, if I'm in the middle of the bouquet and she's driving me crazy and I can't make it come together, I will put that bad girl into a vase and I will walk away. And I go to sleep and I contemplate how I'm going to fix it. And I wake up on Saturday morning with a fresh pair of eyes, and then I will go over the design and fix it. And that's crucial. I mean, like, I do spend a lot of time on them. And when I'm making the bouquet, if I don't feel it here, it is not good enough to go to my bride. Like, that it's fine, it's okay, is not going to get your business where you want to go. You got to love that design in order to hand it over to her. Okay, yes? I do sometimes for the smaller, more open bouquets, we do the 4-inch for them. Any all greenery bouquets, that's a very popular look right now. Talk about something looking like nothing. Make a bunch of greenery bouquets without using the egg. It has no shape, no form. It's a loser. But if you put the egg in it, then you can get some composition, and you're making a very, very good looking design. I think it's very tricky to make a greenery bouquet look like it's designed and not a bunch of greenery. So that's when I use, in particularly, the 4-inch. Someone back there had her hand up first. Oh no, it's much happier in water, much happier in water. Now I will tell you, if I don't have to use hydrangea in a bouquet, I try not to. When I'm using hydrangea in one of my bouquets, it's just to cover the armature. I'm going in on top of it. I feel like, I mean, I used to make the hydrangea balls, but I hope I don't have to go back to that. Now, you will see me use Limelight or PG or some of those other types of hydrangeas in bridal work because it has a little more dimension and shape. But the hydrangea is going to respond so much better to being in water and not in foam. It's like night and day. Okay, yes.
Where do you source your silk ribbons?
Where did I what? Oh, I use Honey Silks & Co. She's a lovely young woman who is a great little mom, small business. She'll custom dye anything for you. I use Silk Dupioni from Midori. And those are my real go-to people. Double face satin offray is really, no regular satin ever leaves our studio, like that crinkly acrylic stuff. That's not happening. As a matter of fact, we threw that away a long, long time ago. Okay? Yes?
You know the cascading, what is your technique so that it doesn't break from cascading? You know, when you do the cascade.
It's the wired stems that give me that beautiful cascade. When you say break,
So that it doesn't break for them, you know, because it's sideways. You know, when you put the stem in the egg, would it be like, it's completely like almost angled down?
so you're not able to get a good angle. It's the wired stems that really give you that mobility, and you're able to, like, they call it a waterfall cascade. So you can just use that 18 gauge wire as the platform and keep taping with corsage tape onto that wire. And that's how you'll get a beautiful cascade. Okay. We good? Yay! All right.
Let's give a round of applause for Holly.
Thank you so much.
We
Woo!
so appreciate it.
Hey, I
This-
saw that.
This seems so redundant, but we so appreciate.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate her giving of her time and talent and energies to support us here at the Great Lakes Floral Expo. Miss Holly and Syndicate Sales, thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so much.
here.
It
and
was
being
a lot
part
of
this.
fun. Thanks, you guys. Woohoo.